Do you think you need a lot of money to live well? I don't think so. I don't have a lot of money coming in every month, but I do have savings. But I spend less each month than I bring in. Always have. There have been a few times when I've had to max out my monthly earnings and just use them. You know, things happen. This is life. You might have a big emergency like a house or a car repair that you need or medical bills. And sure, that is a legitimate thing that comes up and we have to spend money on. But I'm talking about every month living within your means. I do, and I love it. It works for me. So stick around to the end. I'm going to detail what I spend every month, my monthly budget reveal, and I will tell you exactly what I spend, where it goes, how much I spend on what, and then when we have the monthly amount, I can take that times 12 and tell you how much I spend a year. Here are some of the things I do to have a cheap monthly budget. I happen to live in an area where the cost of living is fairly low for essentials like water and sewer and different things, electricity. I'm in the Southwest Desert. This is going to be variable, of course, depending on where you live. I own my own home. I haven't had a mortgage in probably at least 15 years, maybe more, and I like it that way. It's wonderful. I've always bought a house outright, the last few, because I like to move. I buy them outright, so I never have a mortgage. It's wonderful. It's the way to go for me. And, I understand other people have different circumstances, but at one point in my life, I've been self-employed. And there came a point where I wasn't making enough income to qualify for a mortgage. I made enough money to live and I could pay my mortgage, but, they have their little timetables and their formula, and I did not fit in that, which I understand. I didn't take it personally. It was no big deal, but I didn't qualify for a mortgage, so I bought a place I could buy outright. I hate renting. Someday I may rent, but it kind of kills me to pay the mortgage off for somebody else, and when I move out, I get nothing out of it. That is not the way I like to live if I don't have to. Another thing is my car is 10 plus years old. I bought it used. I've never owned a new car. I have no desire to ever buy a new car. If I won the lottery, I probably wouldn't buy a brand new car. Maybe, but probably not. Cars are not a big deal to me. It's a vehicle. It is a thing to get in to get you somewhere. That's all it is. It's not a status symbol. I want a reliable car, so I have a Toyota. It's wonderful. I love my little car. And the biggest thing probably to keep my expenses low is if I don't have the money, I don't buy something. I use my credit cards. I buy my groceries, I put them on a credit card. I buy, things, just cleaning products and things you need all the time. I put it on a credit card, but I pay it off every month. Every month. I pay off my credit cards every month, but there are times when I've had to use credit and I didn't have the money to pay them off, but I go by the Susie Orman philosophy. There's good debt and there's bad debt. And the times when I've needed to use my credit cards and didn't have the money to pay it off, it was when I buy a new house. Because sometimes when I purchase a house outright, I need all of my available cash. And I have retirement savings. And I don't use every dime. Almost all of my money from the previous sale of whatever house I just sold or whatever. And I don't have the money then for living expenses like groceries and whatnot, and can't pay my credit cards off in full that is considered good debt because it's like a mortgage. That's how I consider using credit cards after I buy a house. If I've used all my available cash, I can't qualify for a mortgage, as I mentioned, but I have the credit cards and I have great big old limits on them. I could spend all kinds of money, but I don't because that would be crazy. I'd have to pay it back, and if I don't need something, I'm not going to buy it and put it on a credit card. That's crazy. For me, everybody should do what they want to do, but to be responsible, in my book, I need to normally pay off my credit cards every month. And so I use, usually within 6 months, I can pay off my credit cards again. So I've paid a little bit of interest, but I'm pretending at the time that that's mortgage interest. You know, if I could have got a mortgage, I might have. So it all works out, but it's good debt. Like education is good debt. If you're going to improve your outlook for getting a better job, that's good debt, you know. So, moving on. So before we get into my monthly budget, I wanted to give you just a couple statistics. According to the Social Security Administration, for January 2025, the average Social Security benefit is $1,976. That's more than I get. I started claiming my Social Security benefits at 65, so last year, and it's less. If I would have waited till I was 70, it would have been over $2,000, which isn't the most, but it's, you know, it's more than I'm getting now, but I didn't want to wait. I figured I want the money now. I plan to live a long time, so the more years I can collect it, I was good with taking a little less each month. And now, you know, Social Security isn't always the only income. People might still be working in retirement. They may have dividends, you know, from retirement accounts or investments that they pull out and live on. Those are all income. So there's a variety of ways to have income that don't include just Social Security. But the average monthly expenses for retirees in 2021, which it's probably more now, but this is what I found on the interwebs, is $4,345. $4,345. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. My monthly expenses are way less than that, a fraction. And I'll tell you at the end exactly how much. This is based on people 65 and older. So are you ready to look at my monthly expenses? Here we go. These are my fixed monthly bills, and I'm going to read them off my computer here. Water. I get a water bill every month, and it varies. Here are the last 3 months. $19.47, $19.79, $20.37. I must have taken an extra shower or two. I don't know. The average for the last 3 months for water was $19.87. I think that's pretty cheap. Like I said, I live in an area where the cost of living it's pretty good. It's pretty low. Next, we have wastewater or sewer. This is billed separately, but it's based on water usage. They take a couple months out of the year and they look at your bill and they judge how much water you're using to charge how much your water or your wastewater bill will be. Since I don't use a lot, my wastewater or sewer bill each month is $19.06. Again, pretty cheap. Trash. I kind of hate to pay to throw stuff away, but I do. It is $19 a month, and that includes recycling. I have a blue bin where I can put in paper, cardboard, glass, plastic, tin cans. I'm sure some of it goes in the landfill and probably does not get recycled, but I like that it includes recycling, and hopefully some of it does get recycled. Another one of my fixed monthly bills is my electric. I live in a townhome and it's all electric. I don't have gas. I love saying that. But my electric bill is a fixed amount. It's not budget billing. It's not like averaged usage and then they bill you the same amount each month. This is the same amount because I'm on a program. It's a solar program through the electric company. And I signed up with it. I had to pay $100 up front to help power the solar grid. I do not have solar panels on my roof. I didn't want to do that because I love the idea of solar power. But I've heard that if you need to replace your roof or, if the solar panels get damaged or whatever, that it's a hassle, to take them off. Like you'd have to take them off to redo your roof and stuff like that. It just sounded like a pain kind of to me. So I didn't do it. But I do use solar because I paid into this program an upfront cost of $100. And then every month they averaged it out. The solar, I'm using solar power. I'm not sure if, they don't pipe it through to my house. I don't think so I don't have solar on my roof, but I'm paying into a program through the electric company that uses solar power. They also probably use other forms of electric generation. I don't know for sure what they do, but my monthly bill, this is great. It started out, I've been doing this probably 2 years now. It was $58 a month. All year long, $58 a month. And here in the Southwest Desert, it's winter right now, spring, winter, it's still winter, but it's lovely weather. People come here for the weather in the winter because, it was in the 80s last week. It's in the 70s now. It's perfect right now. But in the summer, it gets up to 100 or more. And it stays hot all summer, probably from mid-May to mid-September. It's kind of miserable a lot of the time. I hate that. But I use my air conditioning because I figure I don't use much heat in the winter at all because I like it cooler and it feels great when it's a little bit chilly to me. I love that. But in the summer, I use more because of the air conditioning bills. But I only have to pay $61.38. It started out at $58, and in a couple years, it's gone up about $3. I'm fine with that. And this is good for 10 years. I just love it. So, my electric is really cheap. Internet. This went up recently. I had a 2-year plan that was $50 a month, and that was about right to me. That's a good price. And it's just internet. I don't have cable TV or anything, like that. But it went up to $81. I don't like that extra $31. That's silly to me. So I'm going to keep looking at their website, and if they have a discount, a cheaper, sale or something, I will call them and say, I want that price. That's what they said to do because I was complaining when I called them about, when my 2-year deal ended. And they said, well, just keep checking back. We sometimes have specials, so I will keep checking back. Trust me. You have to be proactive. That's one of the things, like that electric program. I found out about it from a neighbor. I didn't know anything about it. And I called them, went online, signed up, got approved. It was great, but you have to make yourself aware of what's available. I think that's a big way I've saved money too. Another fixed monthly bill I have is my cell phone bill. And I use Mint Mobile. I love it. It's wonderful. I've had that for probably 3 years now, 2 or 3. And I pay $20 a month. And it does everything my high Verizon bill did for about a fourth of the cost. It was ridiculous. So I am thrilled. And I pay that once a year, $240. And by paying it once a year, I get the $20 a month. If I paid it monthly, it would be more each month. So I like getting the best deal, and I don't mind spending my money up front to do that. I'm okay with that. And it's one less thing to have to think about when it's paid for a full year. Then I have my streaming subscriptions. This is a luxury, kind of, but it's my entertainment. I have Netflix, Apple TV, and BritBox. And I talked about I canceled my Hulu subscription for 4 months because they let me pause it. So these three, Netflix, Apple TV, and BritBox, total are about $33. I don't think that's bad. I don't need cable. I don't watch those kind of shows generally. I just like to stream things and watch the whole series in one, not in one day, but, one episode after the other. I don't like, remember when we had to watch TV and wait a week for the next episode? This is better. Another fixed monthly bill I have is my health insurance. And since I'm 65 or older, I do have Medicare, and that is $185 something a month. I didn't look it up, but it's $185 for Part B in 2025. And I have a supplement plan. I have a supplement plan N. The G was more expensive. The N is just more cost effective, and it's $83 a month. So for those two items, I pay $268 a month. And I think that's a lot. I would love to have universal health care and pay more taxes and just know everything's covered. We won't get into that. Groceries, eating out, incidentals, I spend about $300, and that varies. I don't spend a lot on groceries because I shop the sales, and I have a video that I'll put at the end where I talk about how I, stock up when things are on sale and other ways I'm being frugal. And so $300 for that stuff. Now we'll go to items I pay on a yearly basis because you get a better rate. Two things I do is my car insurance. It's about $69 a month, but I pay it yearly, and that is $825 a year. My homeowner's insurance is about $58 a month, and I pay about $700 a year. So I have the same insurance company, Auto Owners. It's wonderful. They're very inexpensive compared to a lot of others. And I bundle those two, my auto and home insurance, and get a better rate. Here are some more expenses I have that are paid yearly. My property taxes are I think this year it was about $820. So that's about $69 a month, but I pay it. You can pay it in 2 installments, and that's what I do. Like maybe November and then March or something, and because I think I just mailed my second payment in. And that's not bad, evidently. It just, again, depends on where you live and if you have your own home and how much the taxes are. So the final expense I have each month is my HOA dues payment. I have to pay these to live in this townhouse where I live. It's a normal expense when you live in a condo or townhouse generally. It is relatively low because I've lived in other places where it was a lot more. So mine comes out to about $61 a month. That is pretty low for HOA dues. And it offers a lot. I just don't use the things, so I don't love paying it, but you have to. Adding all of these expenses together, my monthly expenses come to $1,080. That is pretty cheap. I thought at first when I was adding it up, that's more than I thought, because I pay a lot of the yearly things once a year, and I kind of forget about them. But when you think about it, it's not a lot. You know, to live in the US these days, it's probably pretty darn cheap. And I know it's a lot cheaper than the 4,000 plus that the Bureau of Labor Statistics quoted for 2021. So it's probably even more now. So I have pretty good cheap monthly budget, I'd say. So what does this come out to for a year? The $1,080 a month comes out to $12,960 a year in expenses. That is pretty cheap, I think, to live in the US these days. So be curious, you know, if you want to share, is yours higher or lower? You don't have to give an amount. You can if you want, whatever. If you don't want to give any information, that's okay too. But at least, you know, I think it's good to have a conversation about money. It's helpful to know, you know, what others spend. Am I on track? Am I spending too much? Whatever. And it may not be too much for you. Everybody is different. And I think that's a good thing. I have very low needs and wants, so I can keep my expenses on the low side, and that works for me. So I hope you enjoyed this look at my monthly budget reveal and what I honestly spend for the most part every month. It does vary a little bit here and there, but I just like sharing. I don't see anything wrong with talking about money. I think it's a good thing. And if you liked this video, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. And I genuinely appreciate you watching. And leave a comment below if you'd like to share anything about your monthly budget. And I'll see you next time. Bye.